One of the things that I find greatest about fairs in general, the reason that they're still valuable, is people talk all the time about moving into the technological age and the technology, but I think that we need to hold on to and remember some of the things that made us wonderful from the past. I got the opportunity to listen to some of our members of the community and the decades of memories that they shared with me. I saw that one of the things that makes a fair most important, and the reason that we need to make sure that it continues, is that these grandparents are talking about memories of things that they did, that their grandchildren are now doing. And then maybe they don't know how to use an iPhone, or they don't have an Xbox, and they can't share that with their grandkids. But something they can share with their grandchildren is these memories that they're having here at the fair, because it's exactly the same thing they were doing over 100 years ago.
I have very fond memories of the Glenn County Fair, and it's just always been part of my life. But I always knew where the first fair was held. The lot is still vacant at 99W on South Street. I also remember the construction of the fair and people saying, "See you at the 40 in 40." I also remember at the age of 7, the beautiful modern gate when the fair opened in 1941 on the 40. And it reminded me of Hollywood, of course, in those days. And then in December of 1941, World War II began, and the fair was canceled throughout the duration of the war. So from 1940 to 55, the Glenn County Fair was one of the places to be seen. Everyone met at the fair, and everyone went to the fair. Old-timers came to Orland on Saturday nights to visit with all of their friends that would be there, and banners flew over the streets of Orland advertising the fair for weeks. The fair, which was the social event of the year, would open just about Labor Day in those days, and school would start about the same time. So all of my teenage friends and I would go to the fair and meet with our brand new clothes, our brand new skirts and sweaters on Saturday night. And most of us had worked in the almond harvest during the summer and saved our money for our new clothes to wear to the fair. There was always a celebrity from Hollywood at the grandstand on Saturday night too. The place would be packed, and the show usually included local talent also. My sister and I, Irma Jean, and I played our accordions on stage in either 1946 or 47. I can remember my dad carrying 2 accordion cases all across the fairgrounds. From 1955 to 1980, the big shows at the grandstand continued. The Glenn County Queen Contest was established in 1955. Hollywood stars were the judges, and our first queen was Shirley Muds the Cone.
Because I was the first Miss Glenn County, and I always kid about they didn't know what they were doing, but it's a wonderful memory, and because I was the first one back then, they crowned me with this laurel wreath. It's actually 60-something years old, but I still treasure it. They also gave me a beautiful ruby ring that happened to be my birthstone, so I have some wonderful memories of being lucky enough to be the first Miss Glenn County. Fairs are actually memories for family and friends. For family, it could go back to my husband when he showed animals at the Glenn County Fair to when our sons participated. Since I've lived here almost my entire life, I remember of attending a fair in a very large tent. And also remember, because it was a different time of the year, that all the classes from the Orland Public School System got in a parade and marched all the way down to the fairgrounds to attend the fair.
Well, I enjoyed coming to the fair, showing cattle for myself, but our kids showed here all the time. Again, my brother's kids, and they all showed here, and so they got a good experience knowing how to take care of cattle and everything. And, you know, I used to have a lot of kids helping me at the different fairs, you know, and they really learned how to do it, and they come back even to just a few years ago. They growing up, and they brought their kids to show at our dairy there, and they showed what they did, helping me take care of the cattle and all that stuff.
Well, we both just started crying a minute ago because our fondest memories are coming here with our dad. And just how much work he put into it and how he would get all of our animals, he'd help us get them ready. And we would spend months at the dairy, 3 miles away.
Grooming the cows.
Grooming the cows, brushing them, taking them to the water trough and training them on how to show them. This was the culmination of you know, all the hard work and where you got recognition and how important our 4-H days were. We all belonged to
4-H and FFA both.
Yeah, and we belonged to the FFA club here in town at Orland High School and also Plaza 4-H. And we would come here and it was so exciting. We got to stay here oftentimes overnight and at other fairs overnight. But it was a time to see our parents and all their friends and how honored they were and respected and appreciated. And so for us, it was just like seeing our parents shine. My mom would come up every day with all of our whites for show day. Yeah. And I mean, she had 5 kids to take care of and wash and clean and iron. And then Dad was busy helping us get our animals clipped and washed. We learned the value of hard work and we saw our parents work and saw how respected they were. When I come here to the fair, over the last 40 years, I've brought my babies here in strollers with other Bay Area moms to show them what a county fair is like, to see the sheep and the pigs and the cows, to have people call you by first name.
The look on their faces, the city people that have never been out at a country fair.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, just the expressions on their face.
And until you move away, you don't realize what's going on here and how terrific this is. And just like coming with my dad, I have pictures being with my dad and my 2 elderly uncles, watching 2 generations down showing cattle over there. And having that experience and then walking over here to the Arts and Crafts building and seeing my uncle had the best of show of vegetables from his garden in his 80s, showing his, and showing that to our children. It's pretty special.
Well, it brings people together and people can show what they can do. It used to start in September and my dad would always get the first prize on his sunflower seeds. They had heads that big. And when it went to June and May, then there wasn't that much produce anymore to show. So we used to show cattle all the time in here. Our 3 kids had their own, and then they were in the 4-H and FFA, and then they showed in the open too. So they always made enough money to, when they turned old enough to drive a car, they always had enough money made with their prize money to buy a car, their own car. So we have grandkids now that are selling, or great-grandkids that are selling things, chickens and cows and stuff in the fair. So I have to come in and watch them sell that. So.
The most important thing for the fairgrounds is that besides recognizing its importance to the community, and it's a place where people can come for all sorts of things. I recently had with my husband our 50th wedding anniversary celebration. Where else? In the Arts and Crafts building here at the fairgrounds. Our children love coming to the Glenn County Fair, and we loved coming with them. I participated with entering things into the different competitions. The kids loved the rides. My husband loved going down and being around the animals and the horses. It was something we enjoyed every single year. I don't know how to say this, but I won 4 Best of Shows. I was so surprised. I won it for Best Amateur China Painter, Best Amateur Toll Painter, Best Cake Decorator, and Best Porcelain. And there was no money, but there was these great big rosettes, and I still have them.
I've been part of all of this community and this wonderful event for 46 years and was fortunate enough to serve on the Fairboard starting in 1986 for 12 great years. We thoroughly enjoyed our time, dug deep to try and make the fair always better. We had our share of fun, we worked hard. It was great. It was a great 12 years.
Our family dates back in Orland to 1915. So we've been around a while. Some of my earliest memories of the fair. I can remember when this Whitsitt Cook building was not here. It was a tent, and it's very small. Livestock, it seemed there was more in those days. There was a livestock parade, there was a horse show, horse races, the livestock auction. That started in the 50s, and I can say I think Bucky's Feed and Grain is the only one still left that has bought an animal at every junior livestock auction. As a kid, I remember hauling straw out here with our business when I was maybe old enough to drive and maybe not quite old enough, but in those days things were a little different. But a lot of memories of the fair. It's all for the kids, so they have something to look forward to. I would say a lot of the antique stuff also. You've got the old railroad engine out front. I remember when they moved that here with tracks along through town. Also, over on this other side, you have, you know, the old Chrome School. I remember when it was in Chrome, and the old gas station was east of town. That's something to see, a lot of that kind of stuff. And of course, like I say, the livestock is a big part of it. We don't quite have the shows and the entertainers we used to, but I can remember Tammy Wynette, Ray Stevens, to name a couple.
When the entertainment started, I forget the two, we paid $1,500 and the Eagles went in partners with us. And I forget the first two. I think there's, well, it's in the record books. We made $5 and they lost $5. But anyway, I was going through this list and we had Freddie Hart, Johnny Rodriguez, Tammy Wynette, John Anderson, Ray Stevens, Freddie Fender, who just passed away, the Oak Ridge Boys and the Judds. They weren't during the fair, but they were on the fairgrounds. Sawyer Brown, Steppenwolf, Marshall Tucker Band, and of course mud wrestling. And there's some others I'm sure I forgot. We had quite a bit of entertainment that came from OMAC Records, which Buck Owens owned down in Bakersfield.
I thought that we had some local talent that was on this stage right here. Wasn't that local? And then down by the cafeteria, there was some local kids who were singing or playing a band or something down there, as I seem to remember.
Yeah, we...
so there was some local talent that was performing too.
Good old Morris Taylor, bless his soul. You know, and it's kind of funny because I had a couple directors that, why you got Morris Taylor? Yeah. Well, Morris had his own program and he went out and hustled. And hey, every dairy farm had Morris Taylor on in the morning because he was the only thing on that you could get on the radio. And he would come in and we'd have him one night at the fair. And I think at that time we only spent like $150 with him for advertising. But you got $1,000 worth of advertisement because every morning he was on there telling you that he's going to be at the Glenn County Fair, So. But
there's always a good crowd watching him because they knew him.
Yeah, they knew him. They had their followers and they could get up and dance.
Yeah.
And carry on, so yeah. Well, I've been to this fair for the 50th, the 75th, and be the 100th. I was going to Chico State, and Chico State had some cattle donated to them from a lady down in Southern California, Herefords. And Ron Hutchings was in charge of the beef department and the livestock judging team over there. And we were showing, and I showed here on the 50th anniversary. Showed for 2 years at the Glenn County Fair. That's the first time I was at this fair. And then of course I put on the 75th and the 100th's coming up. So Glenn County used to be the #1 sheep county in the state of California back during World War II in the 40s and 50s with over 150,000 head of sheep. Of course, being a sheep person myself and also beef, dairy, but it was easy to fill these barns up because these barns were empty down here, and the support that we had in the area for the sheep industry made it natural to come in with the sheep show and the big wool show that we had. And I was kind of reminiscing a little bit about when I came here. Before, one of the problems the fair had, it was all free. And we know that a free fair doesn't work. The fair was free, the parking was free, the fair was broke. So anyway, I think, didn't we have 25 cents for parking, and it might have been $1 at the gate. And The junior livestock auction, it might have been in the $20,000 range, I don't know, for the total sale. And I know back, not too many years before that, I had Reserve Grand Champion steer at my hometown in Chowchilla, and I got 26.5 cents a pound. I got a half a cent over market on the thing. But anyway, yeah, look what it's up to today.
I think during fair time, this place is such a community place because everyone comes to it, and it's kind of a tradition for our county to come to the fair and celebrate, watch the animal shows, ride the rides, just experience everything that there is at the fair. It is really important to teach our fellow community members about the agricultural side of our county because some of them really don't have any idea what goes on in the fields, in the farms, in the barns, in any of the little things they see around town, in the pastures, the cows out there on their way to Chico. No matter what it is, some of them don't know any of that. And it's really good for us as FFA and 4-H and parents involved in the agricultural side of it to sit in the barn, listen to people come around, answer their questions, and tell them all about the agriculture in our community. And it's really important that we do teach them and hopefully encourage them to become more involved anyways with our fair and join a different side of it and maybe learn new things that they didn't know, help them understand things about our community.
Basically, the main attraction of the fair on the weekend was the Destruction Derby, which started in 1965. A bunch of them got together, and it was a real destruction derby. All they had to do is put on a crash helmet, knock the windows out, secure the gas tank and the battery, and they're off and running. And look at it today with the cars that are carrying more rebar than the Golden Gate Bridge. We started out with, I don't know exactly how many cars, I think they probably had 20 or 30. And then it got into the 40s and 50s, and at one point we were running 90 cars for a 2-day derby with a purse of over $6,000 back in the 80s, $2,000 to win. One of the Vinci boys came in, he found him a car someplace, knocked all the windows out, and he came in with a swimsuit cap on. And he said, no, you're not going in the derby. I mean, that's how primitive it was. All you had to do is just have basically a football helmet to get you through. But he had on a swimsuit cap. That's what he was going to use for a crash helmet. And then one of the big derbies, and I don't know where the picture went, but we've got pictures of the grandstand. You cannot see any wood, period. The aisles, everything was totally covered. And that was the main attraction. As you mentioned last year, they got a new fling to it. They put in these motor homes, which is quite a draw. And so hopefully you can keep it going.
I would say the county fair, and I'm speaking for all of these county fairs in the North State, it's one of the last things left of good old-fashioned America, the county fair.
The fact that it's a little country fair is reason enough. It's real, it's honest. You've got good people here who want to show you a good time, who want to show you what the little country fairs and the surrounding areas are all about.
I think the importance of the fair continuing on for another 100 years is so all the kids in our community keep getting to have the same experience that all of us got throughout the past 100 years. The experience would have to be showing the responsibility, all the life lessons they learn, and all the fun they get to have here at the fair.
Just hope it keeps going the way it's been going, you know?
And it's time for all these generations to come together and support their community and to support this whole experience and keep Glenn County Fair moving forward because it's terrific.
Have the experience that we had.
Yeah, and we want future generations to have it. So everybody get out and come to the fair. Bring your family and friends.
I would love it if everyone was a part of this 100-year celebration because it isn't a milestone that lots of organizations or groups or businesses ever reach, and I just think it's really special. I don't know exactly how each person creates their memories, but I'm very hopeful that by coming to this fair on our 100th year, that they will see something special that they'll pass on to their families, and this will continue forever and ever.